Okay, so last time we start with strings, right? Okay. So today we'll start with list, and let's see can we cover tuples or not. So few things about a list data structure. So list is something I will be defining in a square brackets, and I can specify multiple elements separated by comma. Okay. Now in Python list, it's not restricted to a same type of values. So in a same list, I can define strings. In the same list, I can define a list inside a list also. Okay. So this is same as a matrix. Okay. So print out. Okay, it will not throw me an error. And I can store any type of values. Okay. So few things about list. First, lists are mutable, which means Python will provide me methods to add, update, and delete the elements. Okay. Second, again, lists are ordered, which means it will support indexing and slicing both. Now indexing and slicing will be exactly same that we have seen in case of strings. Okay. So let's start from indexing. So again, I have two types of indexes, one positive, one negative. So this will be 0, 1, 2, and so on. So in the difference, in case of a string, your index is for individual characters, but here index is for individual elements. So whenever I say L of 0, this will fetch me the first element. When I say L of 1, this will give me 20. Okay. So I can get one index, that is this entire 0 starting from 0, and I have one negative one which will go from right to left, that is start from minus. Okay. Now let's say I have this list inside a list and I want to access this 100. Okay. So all you have to do is just reach to this particular list. Okay. So I have just said L of -1. Now just give me only this list. Again, so this is a list in list. Now forget about your old list. Just consider the index in this new list. What is the index of 100? 0. Okay. Just specify the another element. Okay. So likewise, you can go inside to any level. So all you have to specify the index. Okay. So let's say I'm specifying this as 1000, 2000, and 3000. Okay. I want to access this 2000. What should I write? So whenever I say L of -1, I got this. Okay. From this, I want to reach to this list first. -0, so 3 I'm writing. Okay, so this give me this list now. And 0. Okay. So likewise, you can go to any levels. Any limit on the level maximums. Okay. So if I only want this 40, 50, 60, Tuple. Okay, so I'm saying 3 and 4. Okay, so the slicing will be exactly same, so I can specify start and end, or I can specify only start, then it will go defaultly to the end of the list, or I can just specify the end and it will start from 0th element. Okay, so nothing new here also. If I want to reverse, colon -1. Okay, so as this is the order data structure, so it will also support indexing and the slicing, and it is exactly same as the strings. Okay, right. So list is a mutable data structures, which means it will support add, update, and delete methods. Okay, right. So I have something like this: 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Okay, I'm saying L dot append of 60. Okay, so I have this method called L dot append. So it will take one element and it will add to end of the list. Okay, now using append I can only add a single element to the end of the list. Okay, so if I try something like this, it will throw me an error saying append takes exactly one argument. Okay. Alright, so it says it will take only one argument. Let's try adding an entire list. Okay, so now I have this list which contains multiple elements. Okay, so now it will be added as a list inside a list. Okay, so basically what append will do, whatever you are specifying, it will just grab this and it will put at the end of the list. Okay, so if you specify a single number, it will add a single number. If you specify a string, it will add a string. If you specify a list, it will pick that entire list and add it to the end of the list. Okay, another important thing, so this append method will not return anything. Okay, so here you can see I'm just saying L dot append. Okay, I'm not assigning it to any value, so this append method will not return me any answer. It will defaultly modify the original list with this new values. Okay, so I'm not getting any output from this. That's why by mistake if I write print of L dot append, I'll get none. Okay, why? Because this L dot append will defaultly modify the original list L, but it is not returning anything, and your print method will always print the output of this method. Okay, clear to everyone? Okay,
It's like in programming, like how does this impacts?
which one?
Like this append L equal to L dot append. It's like you said that it doesn't return any value.
Yeah.
So how does this impact in any programming? Like if we are going somewhere doing some programming, how does this like what care should be taken in while using this append method?
So that it will not return anything.
Yeah.
So there's no harm actually using it, but the thing is you cannot expect anything. So if you're saying that okay, L dot append, assign it to something else and then use that thing. Okay, so ultimately you can use this. So if I just say L is equal to L dot append, right? So it looks like so from your understanding, okay, so I'm doing L dot append and whatever result I'll be getting, I'm assigning it to L. Okay, now if I do this, I get answer L.
So we cannot use it for
exactly. So
printing values.
what exactly will happen that okay, L dot append, you modified this L with this new value, okay, but you are assigning for the same variable the answer of this. So now you lost the reference to this original list completely. Okay, you cannot now get these values because for the same variable you assigned it. So here if I now say L1, okay, so this is fine, no problem. At least you will not lose anything. So I have this L1 and L. This is fine. But my mistake, if you just do L, okay, your reference to this list is gone.
Okay. So basically, like when we are doing using some loop or something, we cannot use that L
Same,
same dot.
no,
We cannot.
no. Okay. Alright. Same to this. If you want to add multiple elements, okay, so just have a look and tell me the difference. Right. So I'm saying L dot extend. So extend method will also pick only one argument. Okay, so if I pass this will throw me an error. Okay, again your L dot extend will not return you anything. But if I pass something like this 100, okay, so when you tried the same thing with append method, it picked the entire list and it added as a list inside a list. Okay, but whenever I'm saying extend method, it is adding all this element as the normal elements, not entire list as a list and list. Okay, so what's concept? So your extend, whatever you are passing, it will start iterating over this list. Okay, it will fetch one element at a time and add it to the list. Okay, so that's the reason it's separately adding 100, 200 and a 300. Okay, but in case of your append method, it will pick this entire list and add it to the end of the list. Okay, so again append and extend both are adding the elements at last. Okay, so here is one important note. If you want to add a string in a list, and by mistake if you use extend method, okay, so I said whatever you are passing to this extend method, it will start iterating over this. Okay, so when you write a for loop on a string, so in the first iteration I'll get p, second iteration y, t, h, o, n, likewise. So likewise extend will also start iterating over this and it will add p separately, y separately, t, h, o, n separately. Okay, if you want to insert the element in between, so we have something called L dot insert. So first argument, it will take the index where you want to add element, and second is the value you want to add. Again, this method will also not return you anything. Okay, so what this will do, it will add an element at a particular location which you have specified, and it will shift everything on the right hand side by one index. Okay, now always keep in mind in terms of memory allocation, your append and extend operations are easier to perform, but your insert operations are very much memory intensive. Okay, so in case you can work it out without using insert and only by using append and extend, then that's the best programming practice. Okay, because ultimately for an insert method, Python needs to shift the allocation or the references by one for all the elements in the list. Now it's 10, okay, then that's minimum, but if you have a large number of elements in a list, and if you're performing a small insert operation also, you have to separate or shift the references for the all the elements. Okay. Again, I can only add a single element, so it works as a append. Even if I specify the multiple elements, it will add it as it is. Okay.
And how is the behavior when we insert in a string?
Whenever it's the same, so it will pick entire thing as it is. So it's only extend method which will iterate over. If you want to update a particular value, you do not have any method for this, but all you have to do is specify the index and specify the new value. So for the first element, I'm changing value from 10 to 1000. Okay, so you can just pick the index and you can specify the new value for this. Okay, so this is your add and this is your update operation. Now come back to delete. So for delete, we have something called pop, remove. So if I have a list, if I say l dot pop, okay, so you have seen add, append, extend, and insert will add element to the last. So we have one method called pop. So what it will do, it will automatically pick the last element and it will remove from the list. So l dot pop will always return you an element which is removed from the list. Okay. Now again, if you want to remove a particular element on the basis of index, so let's say I want to remove 20, so I can specify index also. Okay, so now it will remove this 20 from the list. It will return me the removed element also. So I have this list and the removed element. Okay, so this is pop method where you are removing the element on the basis of index. If you want to remove the element on the basis of values, so we have l dot remove. Okay, so now this will remove 20 from the list. Again, now this L dot remove, so this remove method also will not return me anything. If you want to remove all the elements, we have something called clear.
Remove one.
Okay. So remove will remove the element on the basis of value. So here we have seen pop, which is removing the element on the basis of index. It will check for the value.
We have multiple values.
First occurrence. So at a time it can remove only one value. So if you have a multiple values, it will just remove the first occurrence of that particular element.
Similar for
Okay, so that is cannot be possible in case of pop. And if you specify something which does not exist, it will throw me an error that text not exist. Okay, then we have something called L.clear. So you will get an empty list. So it will remove all the elements from the list. If you permanently want to remove the list, you can use this delete operator, which works on any data structure. So this is not your job actually. Python will do it for you, even if the reference count becomes 0. But still, if you want to do this, you can delete this list. And then after that, if you try to make a reference to this list, it will throw me an error that this L does not exist. Okay. Now let's have a look at very important and interesting. So I'm saying L is equals to 10, 20, 30. I'm saying L2 is equals to L. So now if I print L2, what I'll get? Okay. I'm saying L dot append okay. So I define the list. I take another variable and set that will be equal to this list. Okay. When I printed that L2, I got all the values. Okay. Then I added an element to the first list, but I printed the second list. Okay. Still it is showing me this 50. Okay. So this is the care you need to take whenever you're working with the lists. So by mistake, if you use your equal to operator, so Python will point this two list to a same reference. Okay, so that is the reason even if you modify the first one, but you are automatically modifying the second one also. Okay. So what is the solution? So if you want an exact copy of this particular list and you don't want to refer it as the same memory location, we have something called copy. Okay, so now if I do L is equals to L dot copy, So this two list will have same content. Okay. So it will have same content but different memory location. So that is the reason even if I modify the L, my L2 is safe. It will not create any modification for it. Okay. So if I just print the L, okay, so that is modified.
So this will work for variables having strings and
Strings,
numerics.
yeah. If you have a list, you want to sort it, just do L dot sort. Again, this method will not return you anything. This will modify the original list for you. Okay. If you want to reverse it, okay. Now, what is the difference between writing a reverse by this way and writing a reverse by this way? So I can get a reverse by this also, but still we have a separate method. Is there any difference?
If different memory allocation is allocated.
Exactly. So whenever I'm saying L colon of colon minus 1, okay, so I am not modifying the original list. Okay, but whenever I'm doing L dot reverse, it will modify the original list with a sorted value of it. Okay.
So reverse will first sort and then reverse the order.
Which one?
Reverse.
No. So L dot sort will sort it. Reverse will only whatever be the list, it will just do same as the colon minus 1. It will modify at the same memory location. If I have two lists, 10, 20, 30, 41, 50, if I say L2 is equals to 100, 200, 300, 400, if I say print function L3 is equals to L1 plus L2. Okay, so this will concatenate your two lists again. So this is same as your extend. So here the same thing I can say as L1 dot extend L2. Now what is the difference in both of them? So here I'm not modifying either of L1 or L2, but here I'm extending this L2 at end of L1. So I'm actually modifying the original list L1. Okay, but here I have to assign it to a third list, or if I want to modify the first one only, then I can say L1 is equal to L1 plus. Okay. Mm, if I say something like this, okay, so it will give me the same list 5 times. Let's try with a simple one. Okay, so 0.1, it will add the same elements 5 times in the same list. We have discussed index function, right, yesterday. So similarly, we have a list also. If I want the index of a particular element, so this will give me 1. Again, it will give me the first occurrence from left hand side. We do not have find function here. So that is the reason if I specify something which does not exist, I will get an error. And I do not have a find variation of this, not the R find also. Okay. Uh, if you want to count the number of occurrences of a particular element, yes, I will count the number of occurrences of this particular element. Okay. Try this. I have one list like this. I have another list. 200, 200.
One question regarding index.
Yeah.
Like if there is multiple occurrence of 200,
Uh-huh.
you need to give the first
First occurrence. First occurrence. Same as your strings. First occurrence from left hand side. Okay. Alright. So now I have these two lists. Okay. The ultimate aim is I want single list from this. You can call it as a L3 also. Okay. So I want a single list which should be sorted and it should only contain unique elements. Okay, so I have a duplication like 200, 200 and 50. This 50 is also repeated. All right, so 90 is repeated. So I want only unique elements from both lists. Okay, try this. Huh? Come here. Okay, so should I say something like this? Which method should I extend? Not. But I'm saying something like this. Okay. Next. Mm-hmm. Next. So now I have an entire list with multiple elements. Yeah.
For
Mm-hmm.
IPA
Mm-hmm.
if L1 of I
So keep in mind whenever you're writing using for loop, you are getting exact value. So whenever you are saying L1 of I, which means you are actually saying L1 of 2. This is L1 of 2. It is 0, 1, 2.
I know that 1 and
5 minus 1 is equals to plus 5
If I
minus 1. I equals to plus 5 plus 1.
I plus 1. What is value of y? I is also a number. So you will get 5 and you are saying, oh sorry, you will get 2 and you are saying 2 and 2 plus 1, that is 3, which will be never seen.
it will be like for I in like we use a range function. Range 1 comma like length of the list.
Okay. So what should I write here?
I in range 0 comma not here like in the for
Here, okay, for
I in range
range.
0 comma
Okay, so you want to go to length.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're getting indexes now.
0 comma 8 should start from 0.
So defaultly it will start from 0, right?
Okay,
It's a range here. Yeah. Okay.
But like if we go left, then it will go to the last one, like 1 plus. It starts from 0, so we have to use minus 1.
Okay, so I'm saying L1 minus 1. But ultimately your end is not inclusive. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Range doesn't exist.
So I will get the indexes now. Okay, so should I compare the index now?
Yes.
Okay. So how about in that case, if I add, okay, I have 3 occurrences, right? Alright, yeah. Tell me if Now should I write L of I equals L of I plus 1. In that case,
Yes, L1 dot L1
now we have indexes. If I want to remain on the basis of index,
These means if L of L of I dot count, we the count is greater than 1, then we can then we use the delete function
on that thing. Okay. So I'm getting multiple answers. Yeah. So I want to count if count of if first thing we have to correct this. So this should be L1. Alright. Here if L1 dot count. Okay, so I need to specify the element here of L1 of I is greater than 1.
But like if there are like 3, then it will be able to perform it multiple number of times.
Yes. Can I tell you one simple logic? I'll just take an empty list. Okay. I will iterate over this L1. Each element which I'll get from this list, I'll just check if this element is already present in L3 or not. If not, add it to that list. So for value in L1, okay, I'll just check if value not in L3, okay, then L3 dot append value. Okay. I want you guys to implement this, okay, and the main reason of implementing this is you will not get correct result with this, okay. The reason is whenever you are removing the same element from the same list, okay, and using the reference, and in a range also we have a reference, and here my entire list is not storing the value, it's just storing the references, right? So you may find some interesting results when you use your remove elements. Okay, so this method will not work correctly as you have a references. So it's not able. So Python is not able to update the references correctly whenever you are dynamically remove the elements here. Okay, so try this thing also. And for a repetition, try adding 3 elements. I mean, a multiple occurrence of a single element, just try adding 3 times or 4 times. Sometimes it works for an even number of times. If you add an element, it works. But for an odd number of times, it definitely shows some interesting output. Okay? Alright. We have seen the range function, right? So whenever I say range of 1 to 100, this gives me number starting from 1 to 99. But I want something like character range. Okay, let's say I have two variable. I'm saying start is equals to A, okay, end is equals to M. So I want a list of all characters starting from A to M. Okay, something like this I want them. Okay, just a hint. we have these two functions, ord and chr. Okay, now both are built-in functions. So whenever I say print ord of something called 97, sorry. Okay, so if I pass alphabet, this gives me a integer value corresponds to this alphabet. That is, this is my ASCII value of small a. If I say Z, this gives me 122. That means all my alphabets, the small alphabets, have ASCII value from 97 to 122. And if I say CHR of 97, okay, so this gives me A. If I pass 122, this gives me Z. Okay, so let's think how you can use these two functions and your list methods. So if I define these two variables, start and end, I want a character range starting from this to this. So I have two variables. I'm specifying start and the end. Okay. So I'm saying start from A. I'm saying end is equals to M. Okay. As output, I want a list which will contain all the alphabets. Okay, so first element should be A, second should be B, C, likewise till M. So it's like your range function for characters. Okay, so later when we discuss function, we'll be writing a function for this, but for now, just design the logic for this. If I specify the start and the end, I want the list of all characters. Okay, let's try this. Something start time. Okay. Yeah, next thing.
First I analyze an empty list for value in a range. To ORD start. From ORD start, ORD end plus 1.
ORD of end
plus 1 means like plus 1. And one in the CHR value.
Okay. So the main problem, we do not have any built-in function because we have ranges. So I can start from this particular range and I can generate all the numbers from this range, right? So to generate those numbers, I need a start point, I need an end point, but that should be integer for a range function. So to convert any character to its integer representation, we can use this ORD. So if this is A, so this will give me 97. If this is Z, this will give me 122. I'm saying plus 1 because your end is not inclusive. So we are going till 123, right? So I will get each number each time, one number each time. So in first iteration, it will be 97, then 98, then 99. Whatever element I will get, I want to convert it to the character and add it to the list. So to convert it to the character, just CHR and the value and add it to the list. Okay. All right. How about this? If I have a list inside a list, okay, now this is a very common problem in your data science. So I want a flattened list. Okay, so what I want is 10, 20, 30, 100, 200, 300, 1000, 2000, and 3000. Okay, now it should not be inside another list. Yeah. So let's say L2 is blank initially. All right.
L2 is equals to
L2 is equals to
L. One.
So I need to iterate over this entire list. First element will be a list again, and from that I want to extract the elements. Can you use double index? Yes. So how to access this element? So let's say I want to access this 10, right? So all you have to do is so print. This will be your first element, this entire list, right? So I'm say I love 0. I will get the first element. But from this I want the 0th element. Again, get like this. Okay. Exactly. Exactly. So I'm writing for value in var. Okay. Let's say let's call it as val1. Okay. If I just print this val1, in each iteration I'm getting a list which is again a iterable. Okay. So I'm taking this. What should I write? So in first iteration I got this. Now I want to iterate over this list. For val2 in val1. For val2 in, I'm saying val1 because this val1 is also entire list and I can iterate over it. Okay. And whatever element I will get, I will add it to the list. So I should write L2 dot append. Okay. Now, okay. Think about it. I want to do with a single loop.
Use for
And
list, I'm not sure.
So the same thing you can do. This list is empty. In each iteration, I'm getting one list. If I write this, so I'm iterating over a list. In each iteration, I'm getting another list. Okay, so I have one empty list. If I say empty list dot extend of new list, so what it will do, it will iterate over this list and add the individual elements, right? So in the first iteration, I'm saying L2 dot extend of val1. In second iteration, I will get this 100, 200, 300. So I'm extending to the existing values, extend 100, 200, 300. And next time I'm saying extend 1000, 2000, and 3000. Okay. So for homework, try this problem. So you guys know random library, right? So I want to generate a password, a default password. Okay. So it should be an 8-character long password. Okay. So there should be one alphabet, or let's say one uppercase letter, one lowercase. Okay. One special character. Okay. And 5 digits. Okay. Now each time if I execute this code, it should generate me a new password of 8 character long. Okay. Okay. So let's start with very short topic, and that is tuples. Okay. So tuple. So one thing I will be defined inside this round brackets. Okay. So same as your list. The only difference, tuples are immutable, which means Python will not provide me any methods to add, update, and delete. Okay. Second, again, tuples are ordered, which means if I say any data structure which is ordered, which means it will support indexing and slicing. Okay. Now again, indexing and the slicing is exactly the same. Okay. Now, as this is immutable, I will not have any methods to work on this tuple. Okay. If you just go and try this help of tuple also. Okay. So you just see these two methods are there, that is count and index. Okay, so these are some special methods which we will come to this when we are discussing classes and objects, but these are the only two built-in methods available for your tuples. Okay, so I cannot do any add, update, modify operation. I can just define a tuple and assign values to it. I can get index. Just keep in mind that whenever you are using indexing with tuples, I will not use round brackets. Okay, so we have to use square brackets only. Okay, so this is fixed for any data structure. Again, I will have two indexes, one left to right and right to left. Nothing new here. So if I say 1, so I say 0, I'll get the first element. If I say -1, I'll get the last element. If I want 20, 30, and 40, I can just say 1 to end. Okay. Now the usage of tuple is so Python widely uses tuples. So going forward, we will discuss a lot of methods where Python is using tuples to pass the value. Okay. So we discussed enumerate also, right? That how it returns a tuple in case of for loop. For loop, we haven't discussed enumerate. I guess we. So whenever I say for value in enumerate of, so I have a list something like this. Whenever we say enumerate of L, so this gives me two values. That is like okay. So ultimately, this enumerate function returns a tuple. Okay. So here I'm accepting into this two separate variables. So here if I just say print index and the value. Okay. So this will give me for 0th index 10 is present, for first index 20 is present, for 2 20 is present. Okay. So ultimately, so I'm accepting into two variables, but as a result, enumerate will return one tuple. Okay. So even if I accept into one variable, okay, so this will be a tuple of index and the value. Okay, and I cannot change the value of it. Okay, so you can define a tuple by specifying around brackets. You can use indexing and the slicing. The tuple only support two functions, that is index and the count. So if I say print t dot index of 20, again this will give me the first occurrence, and if I specify something which does not exist, it will throw me an error. Okay, second function it supports is your count. So these tuples are mainly used whenever you are working with functions, that is you want to pass some result and you want to expect some output from the function. Generally as a return type tuples will be used. Okay, so conceptually we don't have much to cover in tuples. Okay, but when we're going forward we will see a lot of use cases of a tuple. Okay, so again if I am assigning a tuple of just two values, okay, either I can make it as a tuple, so let's say t is equals to this, okay, or I can assign these three values to separate variables also. Okay, so this is also fine. The only mandatory thing is it should be three values here. So if I say 4 here and I'm getting 3 here, it will throw me in. Okay. So this is your list and this is tuple. So we started with the add update operation of list. So which are the methods to add elements in the list? Third one, don't look any book. Okay, so we have insert. Okay, so append to add an individual element at end of the list, extend to add a multiple elements. So difference between append and extend, whatever you are specifying it will add as it is, but extend it will iterate over the elements. Okay, insert to add element at a specific index. Then to perform the update operation, I will just specify the index and the new value for this. For delete, we have seen pop, remove, clear, and done. Okay, so pop to remove on the basis of index, remove on the basis of value. So this will remove all the elements, and completely remove from the node. Okay. Now, if you think if you only use append extend method and your pop method, so this is exactly similar to your stack data structure. Okay. So what I mean by stack? So when we say stack, that means last in, first out. Okay, so with the element adding at the last will be getting removed first. Okay, so if you want to implement a stack like functionality, you can also give with your lists. Okay, but I cannot use insert in that case. Okay, then we have some additional functions like copy, and this is very important point. Okay, don't forget this. So if I say L is equals to L1, both lists will point to the same reference. Okay, so that is the reason even if you are adding element to this list, you are actually adding element to this list also. Okay. Then we have seen sort and reverse. Okay, and we have seen index and count. Okay, alright. And in terms of tuple, so we don't have much to cover. Tuple is a immutable data type, so that's why I don't have any methods, only supports index and the count method, and it supports your indexing and slice. Okay, so I'll stop here for today. So next time we will cover your dictionaries and the set data structure. Okay, so this will be your immutable, so this will be your unordered data structures. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Tuple count library is there for the
Yeah.
it says that 2.7 it is satisfied.
Requirement already satisfied.
2.7 I already have a 5 instances though.
You want to run from there. Do one thing, create a virtual environment actually. So try pip install DENV, pip install DENV. I'm not sure if I'm writing the correct pip install command for this. No. Okay. Password, okay. So you want to pick one uppercase character, one lowercase character. So you have to choose from a list. Let's say you have a list of all characters A to Z. You have to pick one element. Okay. So we have a random function for that. You have to pick one element. For special characters, you have to manually write the character. We don't have anything special for this. Okay. So just manually define the list and select one. You can write a logic to select one uppercase or one lowercase character. Okay, and digits you can easily write using randint or the random function. Okay, so all at the end you have to join everything. Okay. In that case, so we have this virtual environment. So what it will do? So the main intention is this: if you are running on the multiple versions, uh, you can just uh, yeah. You have already Python 3, right? Okay. So, pip install virtual, so it's complete virtual virtual env install. Permission denied, so for that try that sudo space su. Just su, so it will just change the user actually. Okay, enter. So now you have root user. Now try the same command. You can start. Install
Do you take data science course also, or just Python?
mainly Python and actually web development side. Django and all this one.
So should we try like this only that?
Yeah, let's start it. I'm also thinking like seeing so Python 3 people start. It's working?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's
But in future you can go with this virtual environment. Okay. So what actually, so the main concept is this, because whenever I'm also working on a Django, we have a lot of versions coming up for a Django. So it's like I'm choosing one version while working for the project. Next time they have upgraded to some of the releases. So in that case, what we do is create one virtual environment. In that virtual environment, I'm installing my Django for that particular project. So install Python completely, install both Django separately. So it's like outside that I have one version, but inside that virtual environment I have this. So based on that, I can just work inside that virtual environment.